Hi, welcome to EventBiz. In this training, I'm gonna take you through how to create a new event and how to set up the event app. If you already created the basic information for your event, you can just click directly on the banner here and start working on the app. If you're starting from scratch, then you need to click on Add New Event. When you create your new event, you have to select your package. You just select whatever is here. Then you have to give your event a name. The name in EventBiz is very important as this name will create the URL for your event app. You can change the name afterwards, but you have to be aware that if you change the name of the event, then the URL for your event app will also change. So be a bit careful with that. Then you fill in organizer name and SMS sender name. These names are meant for if you send out emails or text messages to your attendees, then the sender name will be this name you put in these fields. The reason why you put in another SMS sender name is that it can only take 11 characters. For the event support email, it has different small functionalities in the app. It will not be visible for the attendees anywhere, as in, do you have any questions, then please write this support email. But it has different functionalities. By example, if you use the module Q&A, where the attendees can ask questions, then a copy of these questions will be sent to this email. So different small functionalities regarding the app. For the location name and location address, you just write where the event takes place and the address, event country, and so forth. Remember to have the correct time zone here in order to, if you schedule anything in the system, then it will go after this time zone you entered here, time-wise. Other than that, you put in your start date and the end date. If it's a one-day event, start and end date will be the same. Start and end time is not important if you're working only with the app, because this is a functionality that's only related to the registration site. For the event language here, this one will indicate what language is it that the labels we have predefined in the system will be. So if you choose English, everything will be in English. And if you choose Danish, then some of what you see in the back end will then be in Danish, because these are the labels that the attendee might see. And then everything else is in English in the back end. This information is important to get right from the start, because this is the only feature that you cannot change after you click on Save Event. So make sure you know if the event should be in English or Danish or any other language. Google Setup here. This one will enable you to see who has logged on to the app, what kind of device did they log on from, and which pages did they use. So it can be a good idea to keep the tick mark here. Display an event calendar is only for you guys who are using the integrated event calendar. Then you can decide if this particular event should be listed on the calendar or not. When you're done with the basic details, you click Save Event. Okay. If you already created your event, you can just access your event by clicking on the logo here. So now I'm working in this particular event. Here you have all the basic details that you just entered for the event. Only thing you cannot find will be the event language. Okay, so next step would be branding here. If I click here, then I can put in my top header logo, which will be listed in the top of the app. And if I scroll further down here, then I also have an event app icon here. And this is only when you use the web app, then you can have this icon as a shortcut on your phone, looking like just a regular app. Maybe you have other websites on your phone that you created a shortcut for or added to your home screen, as it's also called. Then you will have this logo you upload here. If there's not uploaded any logo, it would take automatically an EventBiz logo. If you scroll down here, then you can also adjust your primary and secondary colors. It will be shown as small icons and small text fields that are colored in these colors. Okay, so you can click here and get the color palette here and choose your correct color. You also have the RGB codes here that you can choose from. Once you're done, always click Submit. Perfect. When we're talking about the app in the EventBiz system, then we can talk about two different kinds of app. We have the web app, as we call it, which is a mobile optimized website, which is a URL, just like the URL for the registration site. You have access to this app right here when you click on App Preview. Then you have a simulator here where you can always follow when you enter any content or anything like that in the app, then you can always try to log on and see how it looks if you were an attendee logging on to this particular web app. So everything you see here will be in the web app solution. On the right side here, you have the URL for the web app. So this is the URL you need to distribute to your attendees when they need to log on to the app. We also have the possibility to offer you a native app or a real app, as some people call it. The real app is the app that you download from App Store. If you click here on Help, then you have the EventBiz event app here. So this is what it looks like if you go to App Store or to Google Play. You should check your contract, which one you have in your contract, if you are able to use the native app or not. If you're in doubt, just contact customer support and we will help you. There are different variations between the two apps. One of the most important thing is that for the web app, it's always reliable to Wi-Fi connection, to internet connection. If you don't have internet, you don't have access to this page or this web app. Whereas the native app can also run even though you don't have internet. Then you can still see the program, you can still see the attendee list and so forth. The other difference that you have is that you cannot push messages out in the native app. You can, the other way around. You can push messages out in the native app, but you cannot in the web app. You can make pop-up messages, but it requires that you are logged on. So there are different things, pros and cons for the two. You have to decide, according to your contract also, of course, which one is the best for you. One of the advantages I would say for the web app as well will be that it can run on any device. The native app is limited to App Store or to iPhones and Android, whereas with the URL here, you can basically log on from your computer, any tablets, any kind of phone. So pros and cons for both. If you're in doubt, just please contact us and we can have a talk about this. But for now in this training, I'm going to focus only on the web app mainly here, because this is what I can show you while I'm doing the training. Okay, let's go back to the settings where we started when we entered your event. Once you have put in your branding here, then you can click here on Sections and Customize App Modules. In Customize App Modules, you have basically the whole list of modules, as we call it, content that is activated in the app right now. So if it's orange here, it means that it's visible in the app right now if I logged on. If it's gray, it's deactivated. You can also here, you can adjust the order of the modules. So if you wanted, by example, the speakers to be on the top here, you can just drag and drop like this. If you wanted to rename them to keynote speaker or something else, you can do so here. You also must know that even though, by example, general information here is deactivated, it doesn't mean that you cannot upload any content. It just means that for now, if attendees log on to the app, they won't be able to see anything. So once you're ready to distribute the information, you simply go here to Sections, Customize App Modules, and then you activate this module. So if you scroll down here, you have all the features, all the modules, as we also call them, that we have in the app today. We'll probably get back to this list as we do the training. Always, if you make a change, make sure to click Save. Okay, so let's get started now. Everything regarding the app takes place up here in Modules. So when I click here on Modules, I have the complete list again of modules that we have available. So you might notice now that general information and additional information, they are written in not as bright as, by example, the practical information. And this is just an indication for you that right now, if you logged onto the app, these modules are deactivated. So exactly the same image as we saw before. Okay, so let's say that you already created a registration site and you already uploaded some content on that. Then a lot of the content will be mirrored here on the same time in the app. So by example, the module here, program, speaker, attendee, practical information, general information, additional information, exhibitors, sponsors, and also map. These modules can be shown both on the registration site and in the app simultaneously. So once you've uploaded the information one place, it will be shown in the other place. So no need to upload it twice. But in this training, we'll do it as you haven't uploaded any information. So in case you uploaded content, then just skip forward in this training until we touch upon some of the modules which are only valid for the app, for the use of the app. Okay? All right, so the program module here. When you click on program sessions, then the logic in our system is that you create one session at a time. So like you can see here on my program, I have breakfast from 7:15 to 7:30. Then we have welcome from 7:30 to 8 and so forth. So here I have created one program session at a time. If I want to create a new session, I simply click add. And then I put in my topic of the session. It could be welcome or registration or workshop 1 or 2 or whatever. If I scroll down, I can make a small description of what's going to go on in the session. Here I have to choose the date. It will always choose the first date of my event. So if it's a second day or something like that, you have to be aware. Here you put in the start time and the end time of the program. Don't worry about the seconds. This is not relevant. Just put in the start and an end. Here you can also put in a location. This could be room number 5 or the big auditorium or something like that. And then you scroll down and you say save. Okay, so I go back to sessions here and then I can see all my sessions again. If I have a small adjustment to one of the sessions I already did, then I can click here on the side simply and I can say quick edit. Then it will show me the most edited fields I have. So if I wanted to add a location here, I can do so quickly. Save. And then it would have the room added to the breakfast session here. So if you change the times or anything, then the system will automatically replace the sessions in the right order if it has any effect on that one. Okay. So here you can also see that there's something with some colors here. It says IT and business. This is because I've created some different tracks for this program. Because if you have a program where there are different tracks or subjects, and you want to make it easier for your attendees to navigate in the program using these topics instead of just looking at it from morning to evening, then you can do so. So first you create your tracks here. Again, you simply click add here, put in the name of the track. If you want to add a color, you click here, and then you choose the color, and you click save. So now I created a track called IT and one called business. So I go back to my program sessions here, and then I can assign the different program sessions to the relevant theme or track. So by example, now welcome is not related to a track because that's a common thing for everybody. So let me just choose here for keynote 1, and I say quick edit again. And then I can just click off that this one is related to the business subject. Save. Okay, so let's just have a look now. How would this look in the app? So let me try to log on. Click on app preview. In order to log on, as a default, when you create a new event, then it would always be set up in the way that it requires you to put in your email address, and this email address must be on the attendee list. So if you want to try this on to log on, you need to create yourself on the attendee list first. We'll look at that after. For now, I'll log on. Okay, So now it recognizes me because I'm already on the attendee list. All right, so let's have a look at the program now. So I click on program, and actually right now I've set it up so it opens up in the different tracks here. So if I'm an attendee and I only have my basic interest in IT, I would click here. And then the system will show me all the sessions that you as an organizer have defined as related to IT, plus all the common programs. So common means all the sessions that are not related to one particular track. Again, here I have the possibility of choosing to see the whole program in a time flow. Then I would see everything, and then the tracks, I could see them easily here by the color definition, right? If you think that when you click on program, you should see the time first instead of tracks or vice versa, it's a session that you can define. So if I go back to modules and I click on the settings button here, then you can see right now, this one is activated, display both time and tracks. It's orange, so this means it's activated. And then I've chosen that once you click on program, it must show the track first. Now I change it to time. Save. Then I go back to the app preview, click on program. So now it's showing me the time first. So this is up to you to define what you think makes most sense in your event. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the program sessions here. What can we actually see here? Okay, so I click on breakfast. Okay, so right now I can see the name of the session, the time, the room. Actually, I'll also put in a live poll here that I've placed here. I'll show you how to do that later. But what if I would like to present the speaker here as well? That would be nice. So let me show you how to do that. I go back to modules. And before I can assign a speaker to a program session, then I need to create the speaker profile. So this I need to go here to attendees. I go to attendee list. So here I need to add the new profile. So when I click here, as a minimum, I need to fill in the first name and an email address. Everything else is add-on. But if, of course, it's a speaker profile you're doing, then I would definitely recommend that you have at least a profile image here. But other than that, you can simply fill in with all the information you have, like LinkedIn, Twitter contacts, company name, title, and so forth. There are many fields you can fill in here. Once you're done, you click Save. If you're using, by example, the same speakers at several events, then you don't need to create them all the time in here at each event. Because actually, if you try to create the same speaker one more time, then you would probably find that the system tells you email already exists. And if the system says that, then it's because it remembers this profile from an earlier event. So in the case of this, you would instead go to Assign Attendees. And then here in the left column, you will have all the attendees that at some point was an attendee at your event. So for here, it's more than 4,000. When you create your first event, of course, it will be empty. But as long as you create new events, then this base will become larger and larger. So if you can find your speaker here, you simply click and assign. Then you have the whole profile and you can quickly assign them to the program again. So if I go back here to program sessions, and if I want to assign a speaker to this email marketing, I click here, quick edit, and I click in the speaker section here, and then I can quickly add another speaker. Save. Okay, so let's go back, click on the app preview, program, and then we click, by example, on workshops morning, email marketing. And then now I have one of my sessions where I can see the speaker name here. And I can also see a description. And I also have the speaker profile here. So there's a lot of things that you can build up here in the program section. Okay, so let's have a look at what else goes on here in the programs. By example, you might have noticed here that I have created some polls here. So let's try to see how to create polls. I go back to the modules. I scroll down to polls and survey and I click on polls. The difference between polls and surveys is that polls are related to program sessions, whereas survey is not. So survey will just have its own headline in the app, whereas polls will both have a headline saying polls, but they will also be found on the program sessions. So I click session polls, then I say add. Now I need to tell the system where do you want to place this poll. So I'm going to choose the future of CEO. The question is, how do you feel? Select question type. Then I need to choose here if I'm going to line up some answer possibilities where they can choose only one answer, then I choose this one. Can they choose multiple answers, both yes and no, good and bad, by example? Or is it a very open question where they can type a response? Then I would choose this one. Okay, so for this one, I would just say they should choose one. So I say select one answer. So here I'd start lining up good or bad. Okay. This you can also create as a quiz if you want to. If it was a factual question, then you could say that, okay, this one is the correct answer. And then once people have answered the poll, you could take out an export with all the correct, all the points given, and then you could see who had the most points. So it can be used as a quiz as well. Okay, so if you want to allow the attendees to add a comment as well, you could just do like this, or else you say save. Okay, so here you can see poll not pre-scheduled. So this means that the poll is right now visible in the app. So if you have some polls that you would like to do during the day, but you would like to control at what time they should be visible, then you can also do so. You can just click on the dots here, and then you can either do it manually by saying hide question, and then afterwards, when they should be activated, you click activate question. Other than that, you simply click on schedule question. Then you have a start time here, start date, and a start time, end date, and end time. You need to fill out the whole thing in order to schedule it correctly. And then the system will automatically make these polls available at the time that you want them to. Okay? But now, for now, we'll just leave it open here so we can see it in the app. Okay, so the future of SEO, I go back, app preview. Then I could either go through the program here or I scroll down to the menu that says poll. Okay, so I click on poll and then I choose this one. So how do you feel? I feel good. I'm not going to put a comment here, so I just say done. Okay. So once you made your answer here, then you cannot change it, unfortunately. So you have to know that. Anyway, so let's see how the results come in to the backend. You go to modules, you go to polls, survey, and click on polls. So here you have all the sessions where there are some polls related. You can see here how many answers came in and so forth. So by example, if we choose the future of CEO here, I click and I say view. If I wanted to take out the whole information in an Excel form, I just click on tools, download results. But if maybe I want to put it up on a live screen and make this poll right now in the audience, then we would say view. And then I would say view full screen. So now it comes up with your logo, the question, the answers, and then you just click on show chart. Then it shows a pie form here. It could also show in blocks, depending on how you prefer it. So if you have two screens, you could have, or a live screen, then you can have two computers, one that's hooked up with this image, and then it would automatically update every 5-10 seconds, whatever you decide. And then you have another computer where you're controlling the backend. So either you use this tool as just a basic tool to get in the answers, and then you can work with the results as you please, or you can also choose to put them up on a big screen. Okay, perfect. So this was you as an organizer asking questions to the audience, but you can also have the audience ask questions up to you, or the Q&A functionality as we call it. So have a look at that. Go to the app preview here. So either again, you can go through the program. Let's try to do that this time. And then, by example, I click on welcome. Then I have this little Q&A icon up here. I could also have gone to the Q&A module and just gone in that way. Now I'm just going to click here, Q&A, and then I click here, and then I put in my question. Send. Okay. I'll just put in a new one again, so we have two to look at. Something like that. Okay, so now we send off two questions, and actually these questions, as I said in the beginning, will now be copied into the email for the event support email address we put in to begin with. But of course, you also have them here in the backend. So let's have a look. I click on modules, and then I go to Q&A module and overview. Here I have all my sessions where a question has come in. Okay, so we have a look here at the welcome that I just did. We have two new questions. Again, you can choose if you just want to use this as a tool for your audience to ask questions, and then you can export all this in a CSV format, and then you can discuss it within you and put it in a PowerPoint or whatever you want and work it from there. But you could also have a moderator controlling these questions coming in and having them real time. Because at sometimes you would have people who's not comfortable raising the hand in the audience. You have people who are very comfortable by doing it, maybe snapping up too much time or so forth. So having a moderator controlling the audience can also be an advantage. It's an option anyway. So let's have a look. Then instead of exporting, I would go to the dots and I would say moderator view. Now here on the left side, you can see the two questions that I have just posted through the app. So on the left side, you would have all incoming questions. So the meaning is that the moderator chooses which questions should be placed on the product view, which is on the right side. Okay, so when I take the mouse here, I can click on the two tick marks. So I would like to have both of these on the wide screen. So now I go to tools and I say question on projector. Then it opens up automatically here, a new page. The background here, which is black, and the green color here, this is all something that you can adjust so it looks exactly how you want it. Now it's big sharp with these colors, but you can adjust them. Let me just show you where you can do that. If you go back here to the settings button and you scroll down here, then by example here you have the black one. So if I wanted to have a more soft color in the back end, I could maybe adjust like this. The green color here, maybe I would also like another color here. Then I could do a black and so forth. Here you can adjust the color, the size of the font and so forth. Here in the bottom, actually, you can also add other people who should receive these copies of the questions. This could be your co-workers in the event team, or this could also be speakers, by example. Because if you ask your attendees to create questions before the event, then the questions would automatically be sent out to the relevant speaker. So if I put the speaker email here, and then I say all the questions coming in for this particular session, this will be sent to this speaker. So you can make your life more easy by doing it this way. Okay, so now I click save. I go here, refresh the screen, and now it's a bit more subtle in the color. So it's up to you to adjust so you think it looks good. Okay, if you want to indicate now that you are discussing this one right now, then you go back here to the overview, go back to welcome, moderator view, and now I click here with the mouse and push it up to the top. Okay, so what happens now is that it marks this one. So everybody in the audience knows that we're now discussing this. And here you can also see that you are able to like or upvote the questions. So in the app, you can allow the other attendees to actually upvote some of the questions. So they are saying, okay, this one I really think is important, so I'm upvoting this, and so on. Okay. But again, use this tool either as an interactive like this, or simply as a tool to get in information from your attendees. Okay, so this was a little bit about the program, how you can adjust that to your attendees' needs. Also, how can you add a poll where you can ask your audience something, but then also the Q&A where they can ask you something. Okay, so let's go to the next module I want to talk about, and that's the attendee module. We just looked at it briefly before because we were adding a speaker profile. But let's say that you have 50 attendees that you want to import directly in the system as attendees. Then it's going to take a long time to say add one by one. So instead, what you would do is you'd go through tools, you would say import, and then you need to create a template to import. And in order to help you, you can take this template we have here, and then you open it. And now it's taking out all the information that we already have in the system. This is why all these columns are here. So just to clean up a bit here, I just remove this. So basically it goes again for the same rules as when we look at the speaker profile. They're doing it one by one. You need to at least put something in a column called first name and something in a column called email. All the other columns here are simply optional. So you just fill in whenever information you have. Okay, so you save this one. It's important to save it as a CSV file. If you don't have this one, UTF-8, you just choose this one instead. It's fine. And then you say, maybe I'll place it on the dashboard so I can actually find it again. Here, yes. Okay, so now I saved it. So I can go back and I can say select file. And I go to the desk. And let me see. I have it here. And then I say next. And now it shows me and asks me to map the information. But this is because the reason why it actually recognizes it is because it's written in English. First name, it knows exactly that it should be mapped with first name. So by example, if you had written first name here in Danish or another language, it's fine, but you just need to inform the system when you write it in Danish here, what does it mean in English, and so forth. So, but for right now, it already recognizes these fields, so it's fine. And then I just say next. Okay, so if it was a new list of attendees or somebody who hasn't been there before, then it would say created new records. The reason why it tells me that there are duplicates is because the person that we imported was already on the attendee list. So that's why it's duplicate. It's not put on the attendee list twice, so don't worry about that. It's just an information. If there was any errors in the email address, by example, if you had been missing an email address or if there was a space behind the email address or something, it would tell you here in errors. Okay, other than that, we just say done. So this will be the way that you import your attendees directly on the attendee list. Let's say if you're not using the registration site, then this will be the way to do it. Okay, again, like with the program, if you need to do small adjustments on the attendee profile, you can do so through clicking here on the dots and saying edit. So here you can just edit whatever information you want. And then again, always click update or save. You can also allow your attendees to edit in their own profile. Then they do it through the app. So you click here on app preview, and then you go to settings for yourself, edit profile, and then you can see what I can edit here. It's you as the organizer who control what I can edit here. You can never as an organizer, as an attendee, edit in this one, email address. It's only you who can do that. But here you can allow me to import my LinkedIn profile, which would add an image on my profile and so forth. So it's up to you what would make sense that the people can upload here. Once you do any editing, you just click done. So if I go back here, then that's what will be on my profile. What you can see on each other's profile is also, of course, you who define that. So if I go on this guy, then what I can see right now is his first name, last name, and the email address. So by example, if you by rule don't want to show the attendees' email addresses, you need to hide it or deactivate it. So let me show you where you control that. I go to modules, I go to attendees, and then the settings button here. I click. Okay, so here you have display attendee information. Again, the logic is everything that's orange will be shown, everything that's gray is hidden. So by example, if you have, by example, this network group, this one, if it's activated, if there's no information in the column, of course it won't show anything. So it's only the columns where you have information that is important that you know if you want to show it or not. So by example, before we just talked about maybe showing the email. So what I would do is I deactivate it here, and then I go and click save. When I go back to the app preview now, and if I go to the attendee list, click on the same guy, now the email is gone. So it's always you as the organizer who decide what should they show each other on the profiles. Okay. Once we're here, you can also see that you can actually chat with the attendees between them. So if you click on the icon here, you can start a chat. So this works just like a regular chat where you can network in this way or so forth. Okay, so let's go back to the attendee modules. If I go to attendees here and I click, by example, on groups, because maybe you have an event where it would make sense to split up people in groups. And this information they should be able to find in the app themselves. So you don't have to tell them or put up things on the walls explaining where they should sit at dinner and so forth. So by example, it would make sense to make a table plan dinner. So what you do is you say add, and then you say the group name, which in this case would be table plan dinner. Then you click save. Now we just ignore it for this time. Once you created the headline here, you have to create the tables where they should actually be sitting. So what I would do is I would click here and say add subgroup like this, and then I create table number 3. Save. Okay, perfect. So you could also make a headline called work groups and then create the different groups. Okay, so now I want to organize my dinner table here. So there are different ways you can assign attendees to tables. Either you go to the dots here and you say assign attendee, and then you can do it manually here by clicking, okay, I would like these people to sit at this table. Okay, and I click assign. Okay, so I go back to groups. So this would take a long time if you have a lot of attendees. Maybe it can be difficult to navigate manually. So you can also do it by a CSV import. So by example, if you click here again, and then you say import assigned attendee, then actually you just need to create a CSV file with one column. Again, if I click on the template here, it would open up and show me how to do it. So if I click here, so now it's showing me the whole attendee list here so that I can actually just maybe remove some of these here like this, and then I would save as, again CSV file, dashboard, table 1, group 1, whatever you want, call it. Then I go back to the system here and I say select file, group 1, and upload. So now automatically I just placed 12 attendees here. So you can do it either way you think is easier for you. Okay, so let's have a look at where I see this information in the app. For me, I would go here and I would click on My Registration. So if I scroll down here, I can see that for the table plan dinner, I'm on table 2. And if I click on table 2, I can see who's dining with me. Okay? So if it makes sense, split people up in groups and make it accessible in here so they can easily navigate like that. Let's go back to modules. Okay, if you want to make a small commercial maybe in your event, you can also click here on banner ads. This is a place where you can add banners that will be shown in the app. So either maybe it's a part of a sponsor package, an exhibitor package, or maybe you just want to link to an external URL, maybe to make a commercial for your upcoming conference or something like that. If you want to put it on a place, link it to a sponsor, then you need to select the sponsor here. And of course, they need to be created in the sponsor module first. And then you upload their logo here, and then it will be shown. Okay, let's have a look at the app to see how it's presented. So if I scroll down, then you can see this is actually a banner app that I placed. So if I click on it, I would go to the EventBiz site here. Okay, so this is maybe something you can sell as a part of a sponsor package or something like that. Okay, so while we're just looking here, then maybe you notice that there's also something called an e-ticket. Let's have a look at that one. If I click here on the e-ticket, it shows me a QR code. So this is a personal QR code for me that I could show in the door, and then you could have some staff scanning this QR code, and then I will be registered that I have arrived. The QR scanner to scan this one, you pick this up in App Store or Google Play. Let me show you here. I go to Help, and then you have it here. It's called the Check-in app. So what you need to do, you need to prepare by adding some check-in staff in the module check-in or e-ticket here. So if I click here on user admin, then I've created a profile here called Kashif with an email address and a password. So once this is in order, I just need the last information here from settings, which is the unique event code here. So once I have that data gathered, I send it out to the check-in staff and I tell them, please go to with your iPhone, download this check-in app. Then you log on with this information I'm giving you, and then they can actually just scan with their own phone when people arrive on the door. It's also possible to add this functionality up with a direct scan or print of your name tag. So if that could be interesting for you, then contact us and we'll explain you further. But if you just scan it, then you can read here, of course, in the backend who has come and who's yet to come. So you go to the e-ticket module and then you click here, not checked in. And here you have all the people who are not checked in yet. So by example, if this guy, he comes to the door and he forgot to bring his phone, or the phone went out of power, or, you know, there can be many things, then you can also have somebody here with the open computer, and then you simply say, okay, that's fine, I'm going to check him in, and then you do it automatically. Now this one is set up to a terminal and whatever, but other than that, it would just automatically check him in. So of course it can be done manually, or you can scan them in, up to you. But you don't have to stand and do it on an Excel file or on even with a pen and pencil. Here in check-in history, you can see who checked in, at what time, and if they checked out again, if you use that. You don't need to have people checking out, but it's an option you have. Okay, so that was a little bit about using the system also here as a ticket to get into your event. You can, of course, also email this QR code in an email to the attendees, and then they show up in the door and show this email on the phone. Okay, So maybe you have some practical information. There's always some different practical information here. So you go to practical information and then you can say add, and then you can either add a new page, which is just like a blank page, like hotel information, parking, or you can put in a link to, by example, a hotel page if you want to explain something there, or maybe to a weather channel or whatever it could be relevant for your event. Usually people just use new page and then they build out the practical information here. So parking is always an issue, parking at the venue. You put it in a description here about how the parking is. You can include an image and also a PDF. So it's a very free module where you can do whatever you want. Then you just click save, and then you have all the information here. In the app, it looks like this. Practical information, and then you have it here. And then if you want to read further about parking, you go here. You can put the image here, and then you can consider whatever here. Okay, so that's a very free module that you can use for whatever is relevant for you. All right, let's have a look at what else could be interesting for you. News and updates. So let's have a look at this one. If you click here, then you can actually prepare small news, sending them out for your attendees. Again here, as we talked about in the beginning, there's a huge difference between having the native app, or the real app as some people call it, and then the web app solution, which I'm mostly looking into today. Because of the fact that you cannot push notifications out in the web app. But still, they can still be very useful here, because you give it here the title, the description. This could be maybe predefined messages that you know you want to have out during the day, like in 10 minutes we're serving coffee, or in half an hour please go to the lunchroom, or all these messages that usually you would have to do on the fly. Then you can simply prepare them and let the system work for you, because you can schedule them. If you look here, you can schedule them date and time wise. And then the system would simply send them out in a time range between 0 and 4 or 5 minutes. So you can have the system working for you in that matter. Here you can also choose who you want to send to. So either you send maybe to all the attendees, maybe this is messages that are only relevant to certain groups or tables, then you could do so, and then it's only these people who would receive the message. You can also send to individuals and so on. And then here in the bottom, we've also added that you can send this message by email. So by example, if you feel like that you would be missing out on some people because it's not pushing out the message, only popping up in the app, then you could say, okay, it should also send by email. And then I think a lot of people have notifications once they receive emails, so you could actually connect to a lot of people with those messages. If you have a message and it's really important, like in 10 minutes the bus will be leaving, then you could consider sending a text message. Here I would warn you that there will be additional charges applied. So if you want to consider doing the text messages, ask us how much it is, because it depends on national or international numbers. Okay. Once you're done, you click save. If it's not scheduled, it will send out within a few minutes of time. So this is something that you can use during the day on the fly, or plan. Also, maybe schedule them together with, if you have a survey or polls, then to make some kind of notification to your attendees that now they can actually go and answer some of that. Okay, perfect. Next online here I want to show you is documents, because usually this is also one of the big advantages by using an app, is that you don't need to pre-print all these documents for attendees or sending them afterwards, because you can just tell them that all relevant documents will be, at some point at least, open in the app for them to download. Okay, then you don't spend any money or anything on, or resources on this kind of thing, pre-printing. So we already created some folders here that you can use. So if you want to add, let's say, a speaker presentation, then you would click here on speaker. Then you need to create a subfolder for the relevant speaker. You do that by clicking add here. Once you've done the subfolder, you can click here on select. Now I already uploaded a file here, but if I wanted to upload one more, I would simply go here and say add file. Again, you can see you can actually schedule these documents. So by example, if Alice says it's fine that you upload my presentation, but I would prefer that it's not visible before after I've done my presentation, then you just do like this, and then you upload the document. Okay, so let's go to the app and see how it looks. Again, I could choose to go through the speaker profile and find the document, or I simply scroll down and I click on documents, go to speaker, choose the speaker, and here I have the document. So again, many documents are not meant for reading on a smartphone at least. So what I could do is that I could click here and send me this link on email, and then I could open it up later on my computer and then eventually print it if I want to. Okay. So that was documents. Let's have a look at what else information could be interesting. Yes, we have these two modules, sponsors and exhibitors. They are totally alike, but right now you can see that it's only sponsors that I've activated because in this case, maybe I don't have any exhibitors. So if I go to sponsors here and I click on sponsor list, then I've created some different sponsor profiles here. If I want to create a new one, I simply say add. As a minimum, actually, you just need to enter the name of the sponsor. But of course, in order to make some kind of sense to the listing, we need also their logo here. So the size of the logo, you have it here, so you know what to put in. For a contact person, you can also add a contact person, and it works a bit the same like if you want to assign a speaker to a program session. You need to create the person first on the attendee list in order for you to choose them here. So this would connect their profile to the relevant sponsor profile, so you could see, by example, if you visit at an exhibition or something, then you know, okay, this was the guy I talked to yesterday, and here I can easily find his contact details, by example. But other than that, you can simply upload different information like the booth number, description, and all this kind of contact details, and then you click save. Of course, you can also, like in many places in our system, you have the tools button and you can import a lot of stuff. Of course, the logo you would always have to add afterwards, but other than that, you can import a lot of information directly using our template as usual. All right, so let's have a look at what else could be interesting. If you haven't already uploaded a map, you could do so here in map. So you go to map, and then if it's blank, you would go to here to details. And then either you can create your own image here, which would be like a fixed image in this size, or you can add a Google iframe. Let's see how you find this Google iframe. So I go to a new page here, I type in an address like this, and then I click on the map here. And then I need to go some steps further. It's not just this URL you need to paste. You need to click here on share or whatever it says in your language. And then you click here on embed a map, because here you have the iframe. So you say copy to HTML and you go back and you paste it in here and you click save. And then you have your map. Let's have a look at how it looks in the app. Scroll down and I click. And I can use this to navigate from or add it in my car to the GPS or whatever, and then I can easily find the venue place. Okay, so another interactive feature we have is the social wall, as we call it here. When I click here, then I can post comments and images, and people can like and re-comment and so forth. We also call it like a Facebook Lite. It doesn't really have to do anything with Facebook at all, but it's just working in the same way. So you can have it here in the app only, and then it actually just lives its own life, so to speak. Or you can also choose as an organizer to pull it up on a big live screen. So let's have a look at how that could be done. I go to modules. I go to social wall, and then I could click here on project view. So in this view, now it doesn't look really cool with these images, but anyway, this one you could just plug your computer to a live screen, and then they would automatically update accordingly when people upload images. So in our experience, it's actually pretty good, and it works as long as somebody posts something, then you would see that it goes really fast. If you want to control, of course, there's no validation of these things. It's not like somebody posted something, can you please, can you validate it or whatever? It comes up immediately. But of course, you can edit it if there's some errors or if something you don't want to have on it. So you go to the social wall, and then instead you click on social wall list. Okay, then you can click here on edit or delete. You can also export everything, the images and also the content of the posts. So you always, again, have control over everything. Okay, so is there anything missing? Just here in the end, I would like to also tell you a little bit about the login features. As we talked about in the beginning, I said that the default settings is that you log on with your email. If you want to change this and you want to add a password, by example, you go to the attendee module, you click on this one, and you scroll down. So here in sign in settings, this is where you define how to log in. Right now, actually, this one, the guest sign in is also activated. This means that right now it's actually not validating who's logging in. But if I log in with an email address that it doesn't recognize, then it would just give me the first name called guest, and the second, my last name would be some kind of number. But if it fits your event, you could do so. If you wanted to pop up with a password when people log in, then you have to remove these. And then I would activate this one called show default password, because then you can here define some kind of password that they use the first time they log in, and then afterwards they will be prompted to create their own personal password, of course. So this is the way you can control how they should log in. Okay, for now I'm just going to keep it as it is, but you just need to know that it's up to you to control. Personally, the experience is that many people don't want to add the password, but it's up to you and whatever rules you have in your organization. So you click save, of course, if you make any changes. If you want to communicate with your attendees with an email, you can also do so. Then we have the module here under attendees, and we have invitation. Then you click on app invitation, not sent. Okay, so here you would, in the first place, you would have all your attendees here, and then you can send them an email. But of course, you need to formulate this email first. So let's go to templates, and then find this one called app invite. It doesn't have to do anything necessarily to do with the app, but this is just the name of the template right now. So here you have some different dynamic fields where it would automatically put in your logo, event name, and so forth, the attendee name, and all this. And here you can also put in the QR code, which is the personal QR code that they could eventually show in the door when they show up. So you write this email as you please, and then you click save. If you have deleted some dynamic fields, you find them here. Okay, so let's go back here, modules, attendees, invitation, not sent. So before you send out to a lot of attendees, always test the email with yourself first. Go through the whole flow and receive the email, because it can be difficult to see it in the preview exactly how it is. So now I'm just going to take my colleague here, click him off, and I say to, and I say send invitation with email. Then it would tell me, okay, is it these people you're sending to? Yes. So I click next. And now it shows me a preview of what you've just done. So here you can quickly see maybe if there's any errors or anything, and if it's fine, you just say next, and then it would send out the email address. Now I'm not going to send it, just to not send my colleague anything. But the functionality is that once I've sent him this one, then he's removed from this list called not sent. And then he's instead placed up here in app invitation sent. So now you're testing for yourself, and then you find out, okay, I still need to adjust something. Then you go back to the template and adjust, and then you find yourself here again, and you do the whole flow one more time until everything matches exactly what you want. And then you would go to the front page, not sent, and send to all of your attendees. So this is also a way you can communicate with your attendees during the event, before the event, or after the event. Okay. Yes, I think this is all for now. Of course, we have to know with these trainings done on video that our system is always developing new features. Some things are changed, new things are coming. So please, I would really recommend you go here to help. And then we have this called news and updates. And if you add your name and email here, you'll be sure to know if there's some major changes in our system, which would also involve some of these trainings. Of course, we will try to update all our guides and trainings, but there could be a time gap there. So please sign up here and receive the information when we send it out. We definitely do not spam people. It's only really relevant stuff we put in here. When you click here on help, you also have our knowledge base up here. So hopefully you could also find some help here if you don't know what to do. Then you could search for different things. By example, if you experience issues with you don't remember how to set a password, then you could search for it here, click on it here, and then I would show you here in a guide how you can organize your passwords. Okay, I just go back. Yes. Okay, well, there's just the last thing to say is that once you're done with the app and anything, there's not a activate, deactivate the app button as such. When you're ready to let your attendees know, then what you need to distribute, if you're just using the web app, is simply this link. Then you tell them in an email or however you want to, click on this link, log on like this and that, and then you see everything here. If you want to activate most people using all the functionalities, then we would highly recommend that you add some screenshots in an email or something like that, just in order to help the people who are maybe not as curious as other people. But other than that, I want to say thank you for listening and see you soon maybe.